All right. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Karibuni sana. Hope you had a great weekend. Glad you could join us for another daily analysis session. This beautiful, what day is it today? The 25th of November. Hope everyone is well. Karibuni sana. For all of you who are streaming in from whichever part of the world it is that you're streaming in from. I hope you're doing well. So John Bogo is my name. I'm a trader with Afriforex. Afriforex is a trading unit, so it's not a one-man show. So in case you do have any questions, feel free to ask them. Of course, on the chat box, the team will definitely be getting back to you, but I will also be looking at the questions more specifically, of course, in the chat box. Hopefully I'll have access towards the very end, but remember, as always, you don't really need to wait until the very end of the session. You still can ask even as the session does continue progressing on. So we're gonna jump straight into it. So today, let me see if I can share my screen real quick. So you can see the watch list right there. So Monday, the 25th of November, this is what our watch list is gonna be looking like. Pretty interesting how fast time is moving. Exactly 1 month to Christmas, and I think 36 days or thereabout before the year is over. So the year is coming to an end pretty quick. So this is what the watch list is going to be looking like. But as always, we'll first start off with looking at what the watch list was looking like on Friday, and of course, see what changes we do have. You can see that the euro, the Swiss franc are still on the sell side, same as today. But you can see that the New Zealand dollar and the Canadian dollar did end up switching sides. So that means that we do have a couple of Canadian dollar pairs that we will need to end up looking at for review. So we'll start off with this one. This is the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one, on Friday, we're basically watching out to see whether we could have gotten some buying opportunities. So you can see the three regions right here that had been pointed out. And you can see Friday also this illustration of what we're expecting. So we're expecting maybe price was going to come back in within this region before we get some buying opportunities. The market hovered around here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get this sort of spike that I was possibly expecting to see within here, but you can see that the market continued to rally up quite aggressively to the upside. So, I mean, if you did get some buying opportunities on that one, and at least shout out to you, and they did work out pretty well. So the next one, this is the euro against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some sells. You can see the three regions right there that I had pointed out, and you can see also some illustrations of what we're expecting. So Friday morning price was here. We're expecting price to come back in within this region here. You can see that the market almost just came in within that region there before the sellers activated, and you can see that the market came to the downside. This was during the London market open at around 11. Can't see that the market came down, expecting some sort of a pullback to come back in here. It couldn't, but you can see that the pullback has come back in within that region today. But unfortunately, not really a fancy pair that we will be trying to see whether we can trade. So the next one, this is the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some buys. And you can see the three regions right there that I had pointed out, also illustrations of what to expect. So Friday morning price was here. We're expecting price to come back in within this region. It did, although the pullback came in quite aggressive within this region right here. But you can see that the buyers retaliated, although in a very slow manner, not really what would have expected. I was actually expecting to possibly see another push of the sellers coming down before the buyers showed up. But I guess this price within this region was good enough, and the market did push to the upside. And you can see that even during the US session, the market broke and held to the upside of this region and continued moving up higher during the Asian session. But unfortunately, not really a currency pair that we will be trying to see whether we can get some trading opportunities today. So the next one, this is the Great British Pound against the New Zealand dollar. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some buying opportunities. So you can see the three areas that I had pointed out, also illustrations of what to expect. There were a lot of GBP news events that came out on Friday, which actually all came out weak. But funny enough, we're expecting weakness to come in. And I know that we did point that out in the Telegram channel, but unfortunately, a lot of strength did end up coming in during the US. So even the buying opportunities that we're watching out for, which we overlooked, still ended up more or less taking place. So you can see the three areas, the illustrations. During the US session, the market came back in within here. But funny enough, it still took off to the upside of this region right here. So that's an interesting one, but unfortunately, not really something that we will be trying to see whether we can trade today. So the next one, this is the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some sells. Currently, you see the three regions right there that I have pointed out, and also illustrations of what to expect. Friday morning price was here. We're expecting price to maybe come back in within here. It did, but you can't see that the sellers shut down the buyers quite fast within that area there. Then the market came down, held within here, attempted to hold to the downside, but today during the Asian session, you can't see that the market even gapped and went to the upside. And that's the reason why we always say it's best to actually not leave your trades open, especially during the weekend, because of the gaps can easily end up getting caught up in such kind of things. So last but not least, we do have the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten sells. You can see the three areas right there that I had pointed out. Also an illustration of what to expect. Price was here. I was expecting maybe to get price coming back in here, and it's possibly something we could have read, but you can see that the market came in just up within this area, pushed to the downside. And I guess that was pretty much it, because for the rest of the day, I mean, even moving into today, you can see that the market is more or less holding within this particular region right here. So also this one, unfortunately, not really a currency pair that we will be trying to see whether we can trade today. So I guess that's pretty much it in terms of the currency pairs that we did have on Friday that unfortunately did not make it to our watch list today. So for today, this is what our watch list is going to be looking like. So for the sake of guys who are just joining us right now, karibuni sana, and hopefully you can end up taking note what our watch list is going to be looking like today. So of course, also remember today being Monday, we don't really look at screenshots, but shout out to everyone who did end up sending in a screenshot or two. We're really happy to see your progress. Remember, if we do get any trades based on the things we do end up discussing here today, you can end up sending us those screenshots, and definitely we'll give you a shout out tomorrow as we end up looking at the screenshots. So I guess that's pretty much it in terms of the housekeeping and everything to do with Friday. At least I think we can end up switching gears to matters today. So we'll start off with the Swiss franc pairs, and we'll mix and match them up with everything on the buy side. Then we'll move on to the euro, the Canadian dollar pairs. Then we'll move on to the NAS 100, and of course the US 30 gold and silver. And I think also this one should be on the buy side. So I think you can end up also taking note of that. I think possibly forgot to end up adjusting that, but I think it should be on the buy. So this is actually what the watch list should be looking like today. So we'll start off with the Australian dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some buying opportunities. So you can see the three regions right here that I had pointed out, and also an illustration of what to expect. So Friday morning, price was here, maybe expecting price to come back in within here. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. You can see that the market pushed to the upside, broke above here, held within here. And of course, if you're reading this on a smaller time frame, possibly looked for some buying opportunities within there, which did actually end up pushing to the upside during the London session. So you can see that this one more or less worked out pretty well. During the London session, during the US session, things slowed down a bit. And today, during the Asian session, you can see that the pullback is currently happening, coming down, which is good. So let's see what happens within that area right there in the middle. Of course, in case we do get the buyers showing up within here, then possibly we could try and see whether we could get some buying opportunities. I mean, the market is within a good region for, the London big boys to possibly end up coming in. So we will be waiting to see if we can possibly end up getting, some big boys showing up, sellers slowing down within here before we do end up attempting some buying opportunities. So let's see what happens within there. But also remember the region at the bottom. Of course, we can also get the market coming back in within that region. If it does, then remember that that's going to be the last area where we will be trying to see whether we can get our aggressive buying opportunities. So the next one, this is the US dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one, today, we're still going to be trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So you can see the three areas right there. You can also see what happened on Friday. So we're also trying to see whether we could have gotten some buying opportunities. So price was here within a seller's region. Like we always keep on pointing out, don't look for buying opportunities where there are sellers. And you can see that the sellers did actually react off this region right here. This was during the Frankfurt market open at 10. Price came in, unfortunately, just came shy of this area right here. This was actually also a currency pair that I was really stalking closely to get some buying opportunities here, but unfortunately, I ended up getting missed off this region. I was expecting, price to really come back and give some sort of a retest within this area after it broke to the upside. Price just came shy off there, I think by about 2 pips or thereabouts. You can see that the market pushed to the upside aggressively once again. Didn't quite come back in within this region right here, and you can see that the market continued to rally up. So today, let's see if we're going to be lucky. So these are the 3 areas we will be watching out for. So hopefully you can take note of them. Let's see if we can either get the market breaking above here to the upside. If we do get that, then at least on the pullback, we can try and see whether we can get the market holding above here. If it does, then we could try and see whether we could get some buying opportunities within this region here. So watch out for that. Also, watch out for this region at the bottom. I mean, you could find the market bouncing off this region, and that's the reason why you shouldn't really be looking for your buying opportunities just yet. Because, I mean, if the market can't break above this region to the upside, then just know that there's definitely a region of sellers here. You don't really want to be hitting your buying opportunities when the market is actually holding beneath this region to the downside. So just make sure that you watch out for that. Let's be patient and see what happens on this one, but also remember to watch out for correlation. I mean, if you do see one currency pair moving, try to find out if it's something to do with the Swiss franc pairs, or is it something to do with the opposite currency pair. So just make sure that you do watch out for that. So the next one, this is the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten sales. Can't see the 3 areas right there. So Friday morning price was here. We're expecting price to come back in and possibly hold within here. The sellers did come in, but unfortunately we couldn't get the market holding there. But you can see that the market came down all the way till within this region here. There was a bit of a fight that was going on between the buyers and the sellers within this area. And then after that, you can see that the market did continue to come down. Wasn't really the clearest of opportunities in terms of selling opportunities, but nonetheless, the market did come down. We're expecting that, but getting a proper read and proper opportunities is something completely different. So for today, let's see if we'll be lucky. So these are the 3 areas we will be watching out for. So let's see if we can get the market at least coming back in within this region. We do have a bunch of sellers who are sitting here. And at least you can see that the pullback is coming in. So hopefully it's going to be something we can read. And of course, if we get the market slowing down within here, possibly a sign of the big boys, we could try and see whether we could get some selling opportunities within this area. So watch out for that. Also watch out for the region at the top. I mean, if price comes back in all the way till that area, then we'll still be looking out to see whether we can get sales. But remembering that that's going to be the last area where we'll be trying to see whether we can get our aggressive buying opportunities. I mean, selling opportunities. If the market breaks above that, then unfortunately there will be no trade for us. So the next one, this is the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one, this is a new entrant on our watch list. We will be trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So hopefully you can take note of these 3 areas. The buyers went up on Friday, which is good. Definitely seems that they're in control. We just need to see the pullback, how it's going to come in. It's already started, but at least we do need to see the pullback coming in, at least within this region here. Maybe even possibly try and look for some better prices. You could find the market maybe even just tap in within this area here. But even if it does, at least you're better off if the market and these buyers push the market to the upside. Then if it does hold above here, this buy is definitely safer than trying to look for the buys here, because you could easily end up getting caught up within this region here. So watch out for that. But also watch out for the region at the bottom. This is going to be the last area where we will be trying to see whether we can get our aggressive buying opportunities. So last but not least, for the CHFs, we do have the Great British Pound against the Swiss franc. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we're going to see and try and get some buying opportunities. The market broke to the downside, and you can see that even on Friday morning when we're doing this, I had pointed out that we did need to see the market come back in, possibly hold within here. If we did get that, then maybe we could have tried to see whether we could have gotten the buying opportunities. So this one was off the list for pretty much the whole of the London session. And also when the GBP news events came out, and like I pointed out, interestingly, they all came out negative. So we're expecting weakness on the GBPs, but funny enough, this one did actually end up coming back into the upside quite aggressively. So I don't know what the big boys could be up to, but the GBP is back on the buy side of things. So we will be trying to see whether we can get buying opportunities on this one. So these are the three areas we will be watching out for. So let's see if we can either get the market possibly still holding within this region here, although this buy could be a bit tricky, considering the fact that we do have some sellers who are sitting right here. Maybe if the market breaks above this region to the upside, comes back in, within this area here, then at least maybe we could look for, some really good conservative buying opportunities. But right now, if you look for the buys here, there's a possibility you could be signing up for this small range that's happening within here, which could end up becoming a bit frustrating. But at least if the market does end up coming to the downside, because there's still a possibility we can't get the market coming back in within this area here for some sort of a retest. If that happens, then at least I think some proper buying opportunities could be hiding somewhere within this region right here. So let's just wait and see what does end up happening. But also remember this region at the bottom right here, also definitely the last area where we will be trying to see whether we can get our aggressive buying opportunities. There's a possibility price can come back in here, especially if you look at the story on the bigger time frame. You will see that there's some sort of a turnaround that's happening or that's happened within this region here. So there's still a possibility price can come back in here. For the guys who've done the one-on-one and the snipers, you definitely know what I'm talking about. So let's see what happens. I mean, if price comes back in within there, then we should also be ready for that. So that's pretty much it for the CHF pairs. So right now we're going to move on to the Euro pairs, do the same, mix and match them up with everything on the buy side. So we're going to start off with the Euro against the Australian dollar. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some sells. You can see the three areas right there. And also some illustration of what maybe we're expecting, which unfortunately the market did not really end up doing that. But you can see that the buyers that come in here wanted to see the slowdown. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. It's like the market just tapped within this area and immediately the sellers just reacted. And you can see that they reacted quite aggressively. And you can see that the pullbacks now started to happen within this region right here. So the sellers showed up during the London session, during the US session. The market was thrown into some sort of confusion within this area here. And you can see that today now the pullback has started to happen during the Asian session. So for this one, we'll be trying to see whether we can get the big sellers coming back into the game. If they do, then that would be good. So we'll be waiting to see, at least if we get, these buyers who are coming up, if they do get shut down by the sellers within there and you get the market holding within this region, there's a possibility these sellers who came down here on Friday will possibly be attempting to have another go at breaking their previous record. Definitely need to watch out for this area here, but I'm thinking if they do really come in, there's a possibility price could even come back in within here. But considering the fact that we do have true SNR here, you will still need to end up watching out for this region and possibly do some money management within that area there. So watch out for that, but also remember, considering the fact that price is coming up, I mean, this is only if the sellers do show up. If they don't show up within here and the price continues to come up higher, then I guess we'll have to wait and see the story of what happens within this area here. Maybe price might still need to come back in within this area, but you still could find maybe the market do something similar. So it could tap there and you could find the sellers react. You could easily find the market coming down, even all the way to within this region, but you'll definitely need to manage your trade within these two areas right here. And also, I mean, for the guys who are really good at trading, you could also end up scaling in within those regions. So the next one, this is the euro against the US dollar. So for this one on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten sells. You can see something similar to the other euro. In fact, it's something you'll see with even the rest of the euros that we're going to be watching out for. I mean, on Friday, you can see these moves that happened on Friday. Once those Euro news events came out, a lot of weakness came in on the charts. We're expecting price to tap in here, but at least something we could see. But the market just tapped within there, and you can see that during the London market open at 11, the market just came down quite aggressively, and you can see that after that, almost something similar to what we've seen on the other one, where the market just started going sideways. But today you can see that the market has pulled back in all the way till within this area right here. So for this one, these are the three areas we will be watching out for today. Can also see the gap that happened here. It's a high probability the gap will be closing, but we definitely need to see the big sellers show up. The buyers are still attempting to push to the upside. There's a possibility we could get a spike maybe the market trying to get a better price than this, but at least if the market does come down, hold within here, I think we could get some very good selling opportunities off this area right here to come down. So watch out for that. But remember the red SNR at the top. I mean, if the market breaks and holds above that region to the upside, then unfortunately, at that point in time, we'll have to fall back in terms of looking for selling opportunities. So the next one, this is the euro against the Japanese yen. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to also see whether we could have gotten sells. Similar situation today. You can't see the three areas right there that I had pointed out. Friday morning price was here. We're expecting maybe price to come down, hold within here, and maybe we could have gotten some selling opportunities, but you can't see that it's a similar situation with the rest of the euros. The big boys just came in quite aggressively during the London market open at 11. And you can't see that after that, the market started to hold within here, giving some sort of a pullback, but I guess there was only one selling opportunity during the London market open on Friday. So today, we're still going to be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities on this one. You can't see the pullback is currently happening. The sellers had showed up. This was during the Asian session. Then you can't see that the buyers, they've still not given up. They're still pushing up. They're still giving the sellers issues. So let's see. Either the market could reset itself within here, and maybe we could get the big sellers showing up, but we definitely need to see the buyers slow down before maybe we can possibly look for some selling opportunities within this area here. So maybe we get something like this, then maybe we could try and see whether we could get sells. Also remember that, let's say if the sellers do show up, but the market still holds above this region to the upside, then that means that there's a possibility price could still be coming back in within this region here. Or in case the buyers do continue pushing the market to the upside, then I guess we'll have to wait and see whether we can get the market possibly giving us something, maybe something within this area right here. So just make sure that you watch out for that. And of course, remember to watch out for the times that we do keep on pointing out. So 11, which is the London market open. Of course, 10, we do have the Frankfurt market open. I mean, that's also a time where you can find the markets giving you some moves. And also remember that there is the US session open. So there is 4 p.m. and 5:30. So you need to watch out for those times. So 10, 11, 4, and 5:30. You could find some very good moves. And I mean, even if you're not really good in terms of your timing and your trading, at least if you do find the market within areas of support or resistance, within those times, there's a high probability you could find the markets possibly giving you some really good opportunities. So you can also end up watching out for that. So the next one, this is the euro against the New Zealand dollar. So for this one, this is a new entrant on our watch list. We will be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities. But you can't see that also like the rest of the euros. I mean, there was some very good correlation that was happening on the euros. You can't see that this one, in as much as it wasn't on our watch list, but something similar with the rest of the euros at exactly 11 during the London market open. The market came down, the pullback happened. So today is when we will be trying to see whether we can get the sells. These are the three areas we will be watching out for. So let's hope we can get the sellers showing up within here. If they do, we could try and see whether we could get some sells. Watch out for this region here. Definitely will need to manage your trade within there, even if you could be targeting areas much, much lower. So watch out for that. But right now, since the buyers are still pushing up, we've not yet quite seen any sellers or the big sellers showing up. So, I mean, right now the buyers are still running. We never know. They could run all the way till the top within there. We'll just have to wait and see what does end up happening. But at least if we get something here, be ready for that. And also remember the region at the top. That's going to be the last area where we will be trying to see whether we can get our aggressive and our last selling opportunities. So last but not least, for the euros, we do have the euro against the Great British Pound. So this one on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten sells. Can't clearly see the three areas right there that I had pointed out. And also an illustration of what we're expecting. Price was here, market came up, just stopped somewhere within that region, came down aggressively. Then you can't see that the market came down all the way till within here. I mean, just like the rest of the euros during the London market open, came down all the way till within there, and then came back all the way till within this region right here, attempted to come down, but you can't see that the market is more or less contained still within this region right here, despite the massive move to the downside. So for this one, interestingly enough, the levels are the same. So despite price really moving a lot, it's come back in within these regions right here. So we do have this exact same levels that we did have on Friday. So let's see what happens. You can see that it tapped here during the Asian session. Market came down. Seems like there's some fight that's going on within this area right here, based on how you can see that the market is holding here. So the buyers and the sellers are really fighting within this region. But we'll have to wait and see. At least if we do get the market breaking to the downside of this area here, comes back in within here, maybe even attempts, to break to the upside, ends up being unsuccessful. I think we could get some very good conservative selling opportunities within this region coming down. We need to watch out for this area here, but at least if we clear that region, then I think we could be coming down, all the way till we did even this region right here. So you just need to watch out for that. But right now, give the buyers the benefit of doubt, considering the fact that we're holding above a region of support. We're about to come into the Frankfurt, the London market open. So you never know if the big boys in London could fast react and push this market to the upside. I mean, if they do, and you find the market slowing down within here, maybe during the US session, that's where the market is going to be, then at least we do know that we could get some good sales or some good selling opportunities within there, but also watch out for the region at the top, because you never really know how far the buyers can actually end up pushing that. We just need to wait and see at what point do we actually get the big sellers showing up and the slowdown of the buyers so that we can execute our selling opportunities. So hopefully you've taken note of that. And I guess that's pretty much it in terms of the euro pairs. So right now we're going to move on to the next and the last set of currency pairs, which are going to be the Canadian dollar pairs. So we're going to mix and match them up with everything on the buy side. So we'll start off with the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. So for this one today, we will be trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So watch out for these three regions right here. So let's see what happens. Of course, this one being a new entrant on our watch list, you can see that the market was actually fooling around within these regions right here. Even on Friday, there wasn't really much of a move, but hopefully today we'll actually get the market moving. So you can see that the market went up. There was even a gap. Prices pulled back in. Hopefully off this region here, we could get something. And of course, if we do get the market or we do get some buying opportunities within here, just make sure that you watch out for this region here. And also remember to watch out for this region at the top as well. I mean, in terms of managing your trade, if the market breaks above here, you could look for more conservative buying opportunities. But also remember, in case the market breaks beneath the red SNR to the downside, then unfortunately at that point in time, there will be no trade for us. But you can see that the market is in some sort of a range that's formed within this area here. So, I mean, in terms of looking for the buys, this is the best area. If the market breaks beneath, no buying opportunities. But at least if we get the buys here, there's a high probability we could get the market coming back all the way to within this area here. So about 40 pips or thereabout could be up for grabs, but we'll just have to wait and see if we can get the big boys showing up. So the next one, this is the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, for today, also a new entrant on our watch list. We will be trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities on this one. So these are the three areas that we'll be watching out for. So this one needs to come back to the upside of this region here. The reason why we have this level here and not down here is because even if you were to look for buying opportunities down within this area here, you still have to get past this region right here. So, I mean, if you get the buys within here for whatever reason, you still have to get past this region right here, which is a major area. So you could easily find that you could be stuck within this region here. And that's the reason why it might be better to actually wait. If we can get this market and the big boys showing up and they push to the upside, then we get the market coming back in within here. I think at that point in time, that buy might actually end up being less problematic. So that's the reason why we have that SNR there. So just watch out for that. What you could do is you could actually end up setting an alert there so that in case the market breaks above this region to the upside, then at least you could end up getting notified. So you just need to watch out and see whether you can get the pullback coming in, what happens after that before you actually end up looking for your buying opportunities. So watch out for that. Also remember, you could manage your trades, and it's a good idea to manage within there and also within this region here. Of course, for guys who are really good at trading, this is also an area where you could scale in, after the market breaks to the upside and you get a good hold within there, you definitely can end up trying to see whether you can get another opportunity within there. So the next one, this is the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. So this is also a new entrant on our watch list. So we will be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities on this one. So these are the three areas we're going to be watching out for. So this one also looks like it's in some sort of a range within here. You can see that the sellers have been pushing to the downside of this area quite a number of times. But the major area is actually somewhere within this region here. So you can see that the sales, yes, they are working off this area here. But really hoping that we could get the market just tapping in within this region here, even just to give us even more risk to reward. If we do get the sales, they're coming down. The sellers within here are still in control, still holding the market. So all this activity is still within the zone of this guy right here. So we'll be waiting to see what happens. And I'm thinking maybe the market might just tap in within there, maybe get some proper prices, maybe so that it can attempt to maybe break this region to the downside. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But also remember the red SNR, in case the market breaks and holds above that red SNR to the upside, then unfortunately at that point in time, there will be no trade for us. We will need to see that the market can actually come back into the downside of that red SNR. So the next one, this is the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. So this one on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some selling opportunities. So you can see the three areas right there that I had pointed out. Friday morning price was here. We're expecting the pullback to happen. It did happen. Price came back in within here, came down. You can see some sellers showed up. And after that, the buyers attempted to come up. And after that, the sellers did actually end up coming to the downside quite well. So this one did end up working out pretty nice on Friday. But today, the buyers has shifted. So we're going to be going the other way. So it's the same levels, but we're going to be going the other way. So hopefully you can end up taking note of this three areas right here. So let's see what happens. The buyers have somehow showed up, even with this gap right here. You look at how the sellers are coming down, they've slowed down, which is good. So we're just hoping, and I'm really hoping that the market could just come back in within this region. If it does, I think there could be some very good buying opportunities within here. So I will be on the lookout for that. If we get the buy going up, make sure that you manage your trade within that region. And also watch out for this region at the top right there. So let's see what happens on this one. And of course, remember to watch out for the times. And no matter what you do, always make sure that you do trade with a stop loss and stick within your risk parameters at all times. So last but not least, in terms of the currency pairs, we do have the Great British Pound against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, it's a new entrant on our watch list, but we will be trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So watch out for these three areas right here. In terms of looking for the buying opportunities right now, might not really be the best of ideas. Wait and see if you can first get either the market reacting off this region here, and it could react and you could find the market come down, maybe when come in and close that gap, hold within here, then after that you could find the buys happening. So you don't know if that could happen. And neither do you know if the market is actually going to break above here. But at least if it does and you get the market, holding within here, then at least you could definitely end up looking for some buying opportunities. So right now, we're not too sure which option the market is going to give us. So it's best to actually wait and see. But considering the fact that the market is coming in within a region of resistance, and you can see that we're approaching the London market open and the Frankfurt market open, it's best to assume that the sellers within here will possibly end up reacting. And at least if we get the buys here in any case, I think the buys down here even way much better than the buys up there. So let's wait and see what happens. But also remember this red scenario at the bottom. Price can also come back in within there. If it does, then at least you should also be ready for that. So that's pretty much it in terms of all the currency pairs. So hopefully you've taken note of that. So I guess we can end up moving on to the indices and the commodities. So you can see that they're all on the buy side. So all right. So I hope you can hear me. So it seems like my power buffered a bit right there. But I hope that you can hear me. Apologies for that. So, like I was saying, we're going to look at the NAS 100. Let me see if I can get that real quick. So, moving on into the NAS 100. So, for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some selling opportunities, but also the market was within a catch-22 situation right here. So you can see the three regions right there that I had pointed out. So Friday morning, price was here. We're either expecting price to break to the upside of this region right here and move up. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but you can see that there was a crazy fight, that was really going on within this region right here. So you can see that the sellers were attempting to push the market to the downside, but the buyers within here were really holding. I actually attempted a sell within here, but unfortunately, I just couldn't get past this region to the downside. And you can see that the buyers did push the market up and continued to hold within here. During the Asian session, you can see that the market has actually broken to the upside. So for this one, for today, we'll be trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So watch out for these three regions right here. So for as long as we're holding, above this region to the upside, then we should be trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So just make sure that you watch out for that. So hopefully we can get the market pulling back, at least within this region. And I'm really hoping that the market does pull back in within this area. Then at least we could try see whether we could get some buying opportunities within there. So watch out for that. Also watch out for this region right here. Possibly we could also get the market coming back in within this region. I mean, if it does, then at least we could try and see, depending on what happens on the pullback, whether we can get some proper buying opportunities on that one. So make sure that you watch out for that. So that's pretty much it for the NAS. But also one thing that's to break this region to the upside before. So I think it's possibly attempting to come back in within this region right here. Maybe we could find the sellers, reacting off that area right there, depending on, the story that has happened here, but the market has been channeling up. So just make sure that you're also on the lookout for that. And of course, that means that looking for buying opportunities, especially when the market breaks above this region to the upside, you just need to be careful because we're getting into a region where you could find the sellers, really giving you issues. So I'm really hoping we get the pullback coming in. At least getting the buys within here, I think might be safer. High up within these regions right here, you possibly could end up running into some headwinds with the opposite party. So just make sure that you watch out for that. So the next one, this is the US 30. So for this one, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some buying opportunities. So you can see the three areas right there that I had pointed out. So aggressive, conservative, semi-aggressive, conservative here. Friday morning price was somewhere within this region here. Expecting price to come back in within here, it did. And you can see that off this region right here, there was some sort of a turnaround, but you did need to read that on a smaller time frame, just to get that trade. And you can see that the market continued to rally up. And you can see that later on, it broke this region to the upside, and during the Asian session, the market has actually continued to push to the upside. So for this one, these are the three areas we will be watching out for. So hopefully you can end up taking note of them. So watch out for these three regions right here. So we do have the red SNR to the aggressive, conservative, semi-aggressive, conservative here. So remember that we're also fully technical when it comes to the indices and the commodities. So for as long as we're holding above the red SNR, then the buyers should be to try see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So watch out for those three regions right there. And I think this one is the one that's actually attempting to break the high. So I think it's even, you can't see right there. So it's the highest it's ever been. So, and you can see that the bars are pushing up. The buyers high up within here, just need to be a bit more careful about them because we don't really know where we're heading. But at least if we do get the market coming back in within this region here or somewhere within here, at least I think those buying opportunities might be a bit less riskier than the ones at the top. The ones at the top, you just need to make sure that the market really breaks to the upside quite well, comes back in. At least you can end up targeting the previous high that it makes, especially once the pullback does end up happening. So just make sure that you're a bit patient for that. So the next one, this is silver. So for silver, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have also gotten some buying opportunities. And you can see the three regions right here. that I had pointed out, also illustrations of what to expect. So Friday morning price was here. Can't see that the market went to the upside, came back in. This was during the US session, attempted to bounce off this region to the upside. Although you can see that the buyers started off quite well, and they started to slow down within this region before the sellers came in. And this was today during the Asian session. You can see that the market has really pulled back all the way till within this region here, but we'll still be trying to see whether we can get buys. For as long as at least we're holding above this region to the upside, the buyers still should be to try to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we can get some buyers showing up within this region right here. If they do, and the sellers do slow down, and let's say at around 4, 5:30, those times, we could easily end up getting the market giving us some buying opportunities within this region at the bottom right here. But you just need to make sure that you watch out for this region somewhere here, and of course also watch out for the region at the top right there. So remember that in case the market breaks to the downside, also don't be quick in terms of starting to look for your selling opportunities. Remember, after the breach, you always need to wait for the confirmation that the price is actually holding to the downside of that region before you can actually jump in on your selling opportunities, because you could easily find that the market could probe within that area. And a lot of breakout traders could definitely end up getting caught up within that region. So just make sure that you're also not one of them. So last but not least, we do have gold. So for gold, on Friday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some buys. So you can see the three areas right here that I had pointed out. The red SNR was somewhere down within here, and we did have the other two SNRs within these two regions here. So Friday morning price was here. We're expecting maybe price to come back in within this region here. So the buyers first pushed to the upside, then you can see that the market came back in within here. And if you look at the times, you can see that this was at around 5:30 or thereabout before the market pushed to the upside. And you can see that today, during the Asian session, something similar to what we've seen on silver as well. The sellers have come in quite aggressively. So for this one, just make sure that you watch out for these three areas right here. We do see one starting to move. I'm talking about silver, of course, silver and gold. You see one starting to move. Have a look at the other, because there seems to be some good correlation that's happening on these two. But ideally, we do need to see the slowdown happening. To some extent, it seems to, starting to happen. So we just need to see if we can get the big boys showing up, sellers really slowing down, watching out for the times we could possibly end up getting the market giving us some really good buying opportunities. But we just need to see that rollover phase that's going to be happening within this region right here. So watch out for that. But also remember for this one, for as long as we're holding above the red SNR, the buyers should be to try see whether we can get some buying opportunities. If we do break beneath here and the market actually holds to the downside of this area, then at that point in time, that's when we could start try see whether we can get some selling opportunities. But of course, just make sure that you also watch out for SNRs to the downside that could possibly also give you some sort of issues. So I guess that's pretty much it in terms of all the currency pairs. For the guys who've checked in a bit late, also feel free to take note of that. That's what the watch list is going to be looking like today. So I guess that's pretty much it. On the chat box, not really seeing much. I see Alan there. You're saying, hi, John. Thanks a lot. Karibu sana. Good to see you here, Alan. And of course, everyone else, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. Apologies for the minor technical hitch, but at least we've been able to finish the webinar. Remember, if you do get any trades, feel free to send them in to us. Our contact details are right there on the video description. If you have any queries, any questions, if you need any help, also feel free to reach out to us. And also remember to give us a like and a subscribe. That does also end up helping out our channel. So I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. So as always, may the peeps be with you. God bless and bye for now.